Okay, welcome to our team Zoom training on the blueprint and product education call. It's February 19th, 2017, President's Day weekend. For those who don't know me, I'm Kerry Williams. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy weekend, out of your Sunday family time to spend this time jumping on this call, investing in your business. So tonight, we're going to talk about the database. And we've got a special guest, Dr. Brimhall. He's going to be talking about AXIO and his story, so you don't want to miss that. For those that don't know me, I was introduced to LifeVantage 6.5 years ago. I was a retail manager. I live in Chandler, Arizona, and I'm Pro 9 now with the company. What I want you to do, if you don't have a piece of paper and a pen in front of you, grab some, because we are going to add to your database tonight. So first off, you have to have a database to be successful in this business. This is a relationship business. You have to be willing to go through the numbers. We are sifting, we're sorting, we're seeing who lights up when we share this information. So we've got to start by creating a big, big list. So who do you share this with? Everybody that you know. Seriously, who doesn't need to know about this? So share it with everyone. Do not prejudge. Do not discriminate. What I found is those that you think will do it, a lot of times they won't, unfortunately. But those that you think, no way in a million years are they going to do this business, a lot of times they ended up joining you in it and running as well. So just share the information. I just heard yesterday at actually our training with Pro 8 Sherry Hollenbach. She said by the time a person is 18 years old, they know an average of 500 people by their first name. That's at 18. A lot of us are a lot older than 18, unfortunately, so we know a lot more than that. One thing I found in this, when a name pops into your head, write it down. There's a reason for that. Always add to your list. Always have a notepad in the car next to your bed. Add to the notes in your cell phone, that kind of thing. Write it down so you don't forget that name that comes in. Another thing I've learned, take really good notes as you're talking to the people on your list because the fortune is in the follow-up, you guys. And we'll cover that another week. But you'll hear from people, oh, call me, in a few months when things settle down, or call me, in August when the kids go back to school, or call me when Brazil opens up. Seriously, we hear these things all the time. So take notes on that so you can go back and connect with those people when those things happen as well. So who's going to be on your list? Again, everybody is on your list. So everyone that's in your phone should be on your list. Use Facebook to add to your database. If you don't have their number, you can message them and get in contact with them. You guys, use that memory jogger that's in your blueprint. I can tell you, I did not use that for a number of months. I made a big old list. I made several hundred people list, but when I went back and then used that memory jogger, I was able to add so many more names. So use that memory jogger. Even if you've been in, the business for years, go back, look at it again. Maybe you've met, several more real estate agents in the last few years. You can add to your list. Maybe you've met several more trainers. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody again, just because we've got some new ones coming in. Okay, cool. Sorry. Thank you. Just wanted to keep the noise down. So use that memory jogger that is in your database or in your blueprint. Absolutely critical. Now, also you want to help your team database. So just ask them, tell me about your week. What did you do? They're going to list off a ton of things, right? They went to work, they went to church, they went to school. Maybe they took their kids to soccer or baseball or dance. Maybe they helped out at school. They saw their family, neighbors. Write all that down. You guys, they are building categories of groups of people that they can put on their database. Help them with that, and then they can fill in all those chunks of people. We know way more people than we think we do. Get them on paper. Get that list in there. And even though, yes, people are in your phone, I really still strongly recommend putting a list on paper. Sometimes you'll have people that you don't necessarily even know their name on their list. It could be the UPS driver or the grocery store checker, that you always see. There are people that we see constantly. You want to add them to your list as well, and always be actively working and adding and growing your database. Maybe as you're out at restaurant, you're getting great service, you're adding to your database that way. I know Maria and I would joke about, she always said, if anyone came within 3 feet, they were fair game and they were on her list. Now, does anybody ever feel stuck in the business? Or do you ever feel like you want more leaders, or you want more people that are on your team on these calls and utilizing the system, or more people in training? Sometimes I've found that we need to change who we're contacting. What I found is if we go looking for customers, and don't get me wrong, we love our customers. So of course, who needs better health? Who needs more time? Who needs more money? Who loves people? Who wants to help people in a big, big, big way? But sometimes we're afraid to call people about the business. So I'm going to ask you some questions about some people that might be phenomenal at joining your business. And as I ask these questions, just jot down the name that comes to mind, and then go back afterwards and add several more people to each list. And you're gonna already have a bunch of new people to call. So who do you really wanna work with? Who do you know that's a motivated go-getter? Who's a natural networker? Who's sharing everything anyway all the time? Who is looking for a better way and they're willing to do something about it? Who's coachable? Who will plug into the system? Who has a big circle of influence? Who's a great leader? Who's gonna tell everybody about it if they believe in something and they won't care what other people think? Who just doesn't care at all what others think, but if they believe in this so passionately, they are gonna tell the world about it. Or if you're starting your own company, who do you wanna get it off the ground with? Who would you hire? Who's a great people person? Or maybe who do you know that's tired of not getting paid what they're worth? Who's tired of the grind of owning their own business and doing it all and being last to get paid? Who's tired maybe of being told when they can take vacation or they can't take it off for their kids' state basketball championship? Who has big, big, big dreams and they are looking for a way to fulfill those, but they haven't found it yet? Maybe who's made it and lost it. Maybe they're really entrepreneurial, they're a risk taker, but they're looking to do something big again. Who has self-confidence and is not gonna quit when they get their first 10 no's? Who will actually call however many people it takes, period, until they find the right ones, those blue M&Ms? Who's not gonna give up on their dreams? Who is like you? Who would you be crazy, proud, and excited and over the moon to introduce to everyone that's on your team? Who is just seriously, who's your dream team? Put people like that on your list as well. So, honestly, to me, databasing is pretty simple. Just get the names on. Don't prejudge anyone. Write them all down. Keep writing them down. Add to it constantly. If you feel like you're out of names, join a networking group, do different activities, get involved. Every year, if you've got kids, you've got a whole new group of parents, right? With teachers or things like that. It's very, very easy to meet people. Just talk to them. And next week, we're going to talk about the invite and things like this. But I want you to create a really, really big list, because you might feel really stressed if you've got 20 people on the list and you call those first 15 people and they just turn you down like crazy, right? Or they no-show you and they don't come to that meeting. So go create a huge list so it doesn't matter who says yes or no, because you're gonna do this with or without them. You're not depending on any one person. Go make your first assignment to go get 100 no's. You guys, that's okay. By doing that, you're going to find a lot of yeses, and then go do that process again and again and again. So I want you to take some time to add to your database tonight after this call. But tonight, we've got a special guest speaker, and I'm really, really excited about this. For those of you who don't know my story, I'm just going to share super briefly. Dr. Brimhall, he's going to be talking about AXIO. I love AXIO. I am crazy passionate about that. It's literally changed our family's life. I feel like it is completely underutilized. I feel like it's a big miss. Most of us are not talking enough about AXIO. We could be changing people's lives, obviously growing in your business as well. It's nerve 2 activation for the brain. So why I'm so passionate about this, you know, I said I started this 6.5 years ago. It was actually Father's Day of June of 2010 that I was introduced to this. I had a 3-day-old baby at that time, and I also had a 4-year-old. My boys are now 6 and 10. So my little baby Luke, who was 3 days old when I first watched that ABC video, right when he turned 2, he was diagnosed with autism. It rocked our world. 3 months later, my husband was able to retire and walk away from being an attorney because of LifeVantage. You guys, I am so grateful for this business and these truly life-changing products. And I just want to thank everyone out there. So I can't even tell you how grateful I am. But Ty was able to retire, and for over 2 years, we did 35 plus hours a week of therapy with Luke. We were looking for anything that could help him. One of those people is Dr. Brimhall. He saw Luke every single week for a year when Luke was 3 until now he still sees him all the time. But so Luke started drinking the AXIO September 11th, so 2.5 years ago. I truly had no idea what it would do for him, and I'd been with the company over 4 years at that point. Dr. Brimhall noticed a huge difference, and I'll kind of let him tell that story. But you guys, I can tell you that now Luke is in kindergarten. He's at a regular school. They don't know his diagnosis. He is doing phenomenally well. He is one of the top couple kids in his class. Socially, it's unbelievable where he was and where he is now. And I'm just crazy passionate about AXIO because that was the one change at that point in his life, and it's gotten better and better and better. But tonight, I've got the pleasure and the honor of introducing Dr. Brimhall. So he's a chiropractor. He has taught and trained physicians for over 20 years all across the US, Europe, Canada, everywhere. He formulates his own products. He has a phenomenal practice over 15 years. You guys, people come to him from all over. Like the people that regular doctors maybe can't help, they don't know what else to do, they end up there and he helps them. He's absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, I would just love for Dr. Brimhall to explain, you know, what did he see that caught his eye with Luke? What made him say yes to network marketing when he said, Kerry, I've managed to avoid network marketing for over 20 years. Why did he cancel patients with 1 week notice, jump on a plane to meet the developer of AXIO? What did he learn? What have you seen with other people since then? And why are you spending so much time and effort doing this business? You guys, Dr. Brimhall is married. He has a phenomenal family, 4 kids. He did not need another business. You know, when I said, who's on your dream team? Like, who would you be over the moon to work with? Maybe someone that you never thought would ever join your business, but you would be like elated. That's Dr. Brimhall. So never give up on people like that either. So Dr. Brimhall, are you out there? Will you take it away?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yeah, we hear you. Great. Go ahead. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Okay.
Pleasure to have you on the call.
Well, I appreciate it a bunch. And talk about never prejudging somebody. I think I prejudged every network marketer out there, and grateful that Kerry gave me the chance and continues to give me the chance to work with her. I don't know a harder worker out there in this business. She outworks me, and that's not very often when anybody outworks me. I was kind of thinking when they asked me to talk tonight about really my story, and I don't think it could have happened any other way. I truly had. I'd lectured for three other nutritional companies for over 20 years and thought that's what I would always do. It was seeing Luke after treatment for a year and then starting this product for energy drink at AXIO, and see in less than 11 days into it, his verbal skills and behavior changed over 50%. But went from a little boy that was basically destroying my office, being able to work on for like 5 minutes, to be able to be in my office working for a longer period of time, recognizing letters and number. I remember how hard it was for him to struggle to remember a number or a letter, and to hear him have a conversation with me. Just thinking about it kind of gets me a little choked up, because you just don't see that happen. And I remember when Kerry, I said, well, I'm going to do this business. She said, well, you need to cancel patients, which I never do. I've done it once, which was when my dad broke his back to go get him out of the woods. And then when Kerry said, if you're going to do this, I want you to go to South Dakota. I want you to meet the scientists, and I want you to meet the people, the Poes, the Gordons, and all the people in South Dakota that are so amazing, the family that she created in LifeVantage, to get questions answered. And I remember going there and just kind of really intending to kind of maybe not really discredit, but thinking, man, I'm gonna have a little fun with this scientist. But I found myself just in awe with how he formed it. I remember him saying something to me there. He says, you know what? I'm like, trying to, how did this work? And how did Luke's brain all of a sudden turn on? And as I sat there and I was listening to him, he talked about why they put the ingredients there, and it just all of a sudden started dawning on me that, Luke was ready. He had been doing the therapy. He's been doing the care. It's just his brain wasn't connecting the dots. I remember flying back home from South Dakota on the airplane, and I was drawing on a napkin these pathways and stuff, and just how the brain connects. And I really think we're missing a boat on how underutilizing we are doing with the AXIO. What the AXIO does, in short, the brain's job is to connect, communicate, and coordinate. I mean, that's its job. The AXIO and the combination of it, just like the Nerf 2 Protanum, the synergistic blend is what creates the magic. The AXIO, it creates that magic inside the brain. And most of us, if not everybody on the planet, is underperforming in their brain. So imagine if your brain could function at its peak, would you do that? And what if it was as simple as taking AXIO? Guys, that's what this is. If we can simply just take the AXIO, your brain's going to have the ingredients it needs to perform as it should. And the effects are absolutely cumulative. You think about when you start in kindergarten, what you know. If the person continues to learn, they mature, well, eventually they learn calculus. Okay, so if you're doing AXIO and you're utilizing it, each day you utilize it, the effects, the things you learn, the connections your brain makes is cumulative. And what I love is it's all brain. So whether you're talking about somebody that's struggling with focus or memory or concentration or underactivity or overactivity, or you're talking about somebody that's struggling with depression or anxiety, we're not saying we're treating or curing anything, but what you're doing is you're allowing the brain to work as it should. So if you look at the combination of nutrients in that, and I remember reading it, I'm like, okay, well, this makes sense, this makes sense. Guys, LifeVantage is the leader in putting the ingredients together to allow the body's internal mechanism to work as it should. So what I want you to keep in mind here is that, I kind of thought back as we thought about what have I seen in the last several years of doing this. I've been doing this 2 years now. And here's what I saw. I thought about a couple situations. Luke specifically got me super excited to see that. And then I started putting it into people's life. And there's a couple particular individuals that really shaped my world with this. One of them was my own nephew. Guys, I'm not proud to say that it took me a year to have a conversation with my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, because their son has struggled with anxiety for years, struggled with learning. One of the last kids in the class always. When he started the Protanum and AXIO a week later, he went from one of the last kids in the class done to one of the first kids in the class done. It took me a year to tell him because I had my blinders on to network marketing, even though I seen those massive changes with Luke. I think about this conversation I had. God put me in a position where he knew that if by showing me Luke and the change he had, I've had people reach out to me that I didn't know before that I've been able to help. And I got an email just last week from my mom. She said her dad cried happy tears because they saw their grandson playing with his twin sister hide and seek, which he had never done before, because of these products, because of the AXIO and the Protanum. What we have with LifeVantage and these combination of nutrients, the magic is in the synergy when it comes to the product. The AXIO truly is simple. It is, It's liquid brain food. If not as in there, the brain will not connect as it should, communicate as it should, or coordinate as it should. And if you're doing that every single day, your brain's going to take and learn what it learned today, combine it with what it learns tomorrow, what it learns the next day. And I think about Luke's experience and where he is when he started AXIO, from basically just, the top to recognize letters, to where he now is performing, way beyond what any of us, what I already thought he could do in the top of his class. That's because it affects your community. Kerry is religious about taking him and giving him those things, and that's why he is where he is. We have the same opportunity for our brains to work at our peak. I know myself included, I want to be better than I currently am. So if we can take that, the AXIO, and combine that, it's going to make a massive, massive difference. And I thought a little bit about Kerry's son, Luke. Guys, she's done 30 plus hours of therapy a week. That's a ton of therapy. She was seeing me once a week. Tons of things. The AXIO is the only different thing that we did. So if you feel like your brain is underperforming, or many people around you is, and they're not on AXIO, you have a super, super simple solution. But you want to do it every single day. Get it into the body, watch the magic happen. Those combinations of nutrients, from being brain protective to being nerve 2 activators, for being specifically used for focus and concentration. That combination of nutrient, and also for satiety, that's why it calms down anxieties and why it cuts food cravings too. Those combination of nutrients, you combine those, it's magical. So I'm excited to be able to do this call, because I really think we're utilizing the AXIO. You guys, just get in people's lives. If you'll do that, you'll see some massive changes.
Mute everyone, and will you unmute yours again?
Yeah. Yeah, you got good?
Yep, good.
Okay, good. All right. So, and then you asked me a bunch of questions, Kerry, but one of them you asked me was why did I do this business? And I thought a lot about that. But, at the same time that I saw Luke have that massive experience, guys, I was practicing. I've been practicing 15 years. I ended up breaking my knee playing basketball. I remember going to my first, what they called Life Adage Academy then, and I was limping on a broken knee. I didn't know it was broken at the time. I really didn't want to admit that it could have been, because how do you stop practice? I have 4 kids, beautiful wife, love my life. And it's just like, but I was limping around on a broken leg for 2 weeks. And I thought, well, what is my plan B? I didn't have a plan B in place. I'd had investments and stuff like that, but hey, the economy hadn't been fantastic, but I didn't have a plan B. And I started thinking about this. It's like, okay, wait a minute, Kerry, she shows up to my office, does everything that I asked her to do to help her and her son, and she can come at any time of the day. I'm like, okay, what did I miss out on, right? So I'm doing the business, and I'm doing a lot of work right now. And for me, the business has become really my plan A. I don't know where else I can get residual income like this and do this type of thing, impact so many lives, and enjoy it this much. It's so fun to me to see lives change, to get emails from people, to see people you've introduced to the business, gaining part of their life back, finding time and financial freedom when they didn't have it before, and having hope again. I think about so for me, why do I do the business? I do the business, 1, because it's the right thing to do. 2, because I want it. 3, because, I can and I should, and I know God put me in this position to do this. I'm blessed to work with Kerry and her team, because it's simple if I just follow what they tell me to do. So I have to learn to be coachable, listen to what they're telling me, and to do those very things that they've asked all of us to do. Even this last week, we were having a conversation about databasing, Kerry and I, and she's going through some of these same things. And there were people I hadn't called yet. And I'm like, why am I not calling them? Because as your belief builds, guys, as your belief builds in what this is and how big this is going to be and the opportunity that's in front of us right now, you will call different people. Those people that are popping in your head, give them a chance. Yeah, I wouldn't have ever saw myself do this. All right. But I'm glad that I have, because there's lives that I would not have been a part of had I not been a part of this experience. And it started with Luke's story that's developed into, now thousands of people in my group because of him. So don't miss this opportunity to make lifetime connections, creating lifetime income, but getting your freedom back. We have the products. As I think about it and formulating, it blows my mind when I look at what Life Advantage has And it kind of kills me a little bit, but it shouldn't. You're talking about a network marketing company that, in my opinion, is blowing away the competition of what the physicians in my field are producing. They're ahead of the curve, guys. They're setting the bar. We need to just put our blinders on, go to work, introduce the people, see who lights up, and then get this product out to people. I want more stories like Luke. I want more stories like my nephew. I want more stories like that little boy got that email from. I want more stories about families with depression and anxiety, people with seizures. I want those stories. And it's not going to happen in doctor's offices. It's going to happen through network marketing, because you're passionate, you have influence. Give people the opportunity to have their lives back. So I think I answered all your questions, Kerry. I'm not sure. I tried.
Hey, no, awesome. Thank you. I got more texts and things coming in. Can you share, people are asking like caffeinated versus decaf. And what have you seen besides kids and things like that? What do you recommend for people and some other?
I was doing some research actually on that a couple weeks ago on some caffeine and stuff like that. So, you're roughly about it. In my opinion, when you're dealing with people, if you get above 5, I talked to Dr. Talbot on this too. If you want to stay under 500 milligrams of caffeine as an adult. Now, as kids, there's not a set RDA that I determine, right? But do I use the caffeinated version in kids? Absolutely. Guys, the thing that they're giving kids for attention deficit or hyperactivity, these medications, they not only have caffeine in they're methamphetamines, a lot of them. So in other words, they're stimulant drugs. Typically, most people that can't focus, their brain is moving too slow, not too fast, right? So as far as which one do I use both with kids and I use both with adults. The time I may not use the caffeinated one is perhaps with somebody that's got super, super high anxiety, even though I've seen it help people with anxiety. So if I'm going to err on the side of caution with that, I would say, someoone's got real bad anxiety, I would do the non-caffeinated version. One thing I have noticed too, someone to say, well, I took AXIO and I was tired. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. The only people I've seen that happen with are typically people, they're super wound up and they're super anxious. And because of those ingredients that's in AXIO, it can calm you down, right? So if you're tired after doing a non-caffeinated AXIO, it's probably because your nervous system finally just decided, oh, I'm a little calmer, probably should chill out a little bit. So with the caffeinated version, the only difference in the formula is the DMAE. DMAE is super powerful brain nutrient, and you want to have it there, but it's the only versions in the caffeine. Now, as far as how much, if you're doing, over 5-6 a day, then you're in my opinion, you're based on what I know about caffeine, you're maybe pushing the envelope a little bit, but I've seen people do a lot higher dose than that and function, even though I wouldn't. The difference with the caffeinated version in AXIO, in my opinion, and an energy drink, guys, energy drinks have caffeine and sugar, period. Okay? So that's like taking just somebody that's already tired, keep hitting them really hard and expect them to perform. When you take the caffeine and the combination nutrient and AXIO, you're getting the blood and the nutrients to the brain like it needs and the fashion it needs, so it coordinates. So the brain can basically coordinate things, communicate, and connect. And when it does that, magic happens. What were the other questions, Kerry?
What about, thank you. And you guys, keep in mind, all of this is we're activating NRF2, right? Through Protandim NRF2, through AXIO NRF2 activation straight to the brain. So we're not curing, treating, preventing anything. We're getting the body in balance so the body can function the way that it should. So again, not curing any diseases, but what else have you seen maybe with some older patients or maybe memory loss or different things like that as well? Because I know a lot of people are thinking just energy or when they're draggy, or then they hear this and they're thinking just autism or ADHD or learning delays. But I know we're seeing phenomenal things with so many other things.
Yeah, that's a great question. I remember listening to Dr. Gordon talk like a week ago when we did the NRF2 seminar, and I was listening to him, looking at all the studies and how NRF2 is, and the way they're studying, looking at like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Guys, what I see happen when people take the AXIO and they're on the Protan and NRF1 and NRF2, when I see that, what you see happen is the brain starts connecting and communicating good. Like you're seeing, changes in people with the tremor. You're seeing change with people with, epilepsy. You're seeing changes in people with dementias that you don't expect to have happen. If you took somebody with dementia and they never got any worse, that's a huge win. But when you see people actually remembering things they weren't remembering before, when you see people doing things they weren't doing before, it's powerful. So I really think if we utilize them more, we would see more of that. And I've heard multiple stories from multiple people. I've seen it in my own client population where people are having their memory improve with Protandim, okay, with AXIO. And we just know from one of the studies that came out, okay, the nerve-2 activating ingredients are powerful because we know that those protect nerve cells. That's brain cells, right? So whether it's somebody that's being diagnosed or not, and it's funny, the last couple, probably the last 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was watching a Dateline on Alzheimer's. There's no good treatment out there for Alzheimer's. There isn't, okay, or Parkinson's. It isn't. So if any of you are concerned about that, you have a solution for that more than anything else in medicine we have. The medications, they know just slow it down, that's it. Whereas with Nerve2, they're saying Nerve2 can be used as a treatment the more they figure it out. Well, we have the most potent Nerve2 on the market, and we have a drink that affects the brain connectivity at the same time. So to me, it's just a huge, huge benefit.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, it's getting close, or it's 8 o'clock. I want to just wrap up really quickly. A few more questions that are coming in. You know, a lot of people are wondering which to take or how fast or with Protandim Nerve2 or what. You guys, bottom line, just get it in the people. It really doesn't matter. My kids both drink both. They take their Nerve2, Nerve1, ProBio with their AXIO. They drink it throughout the day. I pump it in it as much as I can, to be honest, but get them on it and just play with it. I want to wrap up. I just want to thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy holiday weekend. I can't even tell you how much we appreciate it. Tomorrow night, because I know a lot of people are asking specific questions with autism and things like that. Monday night, I believe at 7 Pacific, check your back office. They are starting a doctor call every Monday night leading up to a convention. Dr. Nancy Bryan will be on, and she has some phenomenal stories through activating Nerve2 of changes they've seen with autism and so many others. So tune into that call. Normally the Monday motivation and inspiration call is going to be on Tuesday due to President's Day weekend. We'll have another opportunity call on Thursday, and then we'll be doing the Zoom training again next week on the invite. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Stu will send out the recording, and have a great one. Thanks, guys.